Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Developing the Leader Within podcast. This is a big one, folks, because this is number 100. And I have no other, the only Lorena Acosta with me today to celebrate this momentous occasion.
Oh my God.
Lorena, thank you for being with me for not
Oh my
only
God.
this
Thank you,
episode.
Enrique, for this introduction. You're amazing. Yeah, I mean, I'm very humbled that I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that was your 100th episode. But I'm very humbled that you invited me today. Congratulations. You've been very persistent and consistent in what you want to do and who you serve, and I'm very proud of your success, and I'm very, because I know you since the beginning. Right? Remember when how we met? You came to the LinkedIn local that we made here in Orlando, and is how we met.
Right,
And then because you live in Orlando, right?
right.
So since then, we know each other since 2019, 99, right? 1990.
Hmm?
Yeah,
19. Yes.
2019. Wow. Yes. So I remember you didn't have a presence on LinkedIn, and how you have grown since then, and I'm very happy. I'm very
Thank you.
happy that you built something.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I think it's the Acosta. I don't know what it is. But I am so grateful for you to be with us today as we discuss leadership and personal branding. So, folks, let me tell you a little bit about Lorena, and then I'm going to give her the floor and we're going to go on this thing. But Lorena Acosta has 30 years of experience in sales and marketing and training and leadership. And she creates social currency for businesses around the globe by building brands, empowering leaders, and training employees to become brand ambassadors on social media to help accelerate revenue growth. And like I said, Lorena, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
And as we discuss leadership and personal branding, before we get into all that, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I'm Lorena Costa. I'm a Mexican woman. I am a single mother. I've been in sales and marketing for more than 30 years. I just turned 51, so more than 30 years. And I've been doing this for others. I've been branding others. I've been promoting others. I've been selling others, right? But I never worry about promoting myself. I never care about promoting myself. And when I needed it, when I needed to have the connections, when I needed to have that kind of relationships, from people from other companies, from other states, from other parts of the world, I didn't have them. So this is how I came to LinkedIn 5 years ago. I resigned to a job that I was tired, that I wasn't being treated correctly. And multiple times my rights were violated, and I was afraid to speak because I was new and because I was the only job that I have to support my daughter. So I stay. But when the last button was pressed, it was enough. So I came to LinkedIn to find a job, to find another job. I mean, after 2-3 weeks, I got a new job because all the recruiters, local recruiters in Orlando, start calling me immediately. But that was not the route that I wanted to take at that time. I didn't want to go back to the floor because my daughter, she was little, and I had been for the last 3 years away from her while I was working for the company that I resigned. I mean, imagine having your daughter, imagine getting a divorce and give up almost everything that you should have after you divorce just to keep the 60% of the custody of your child. Not because you want to keep her away from her dad, but because you want to create a safe place for her to grow up and to wake up and go to school and come back and have a place, not become a backpacker. I know that for many parents it's very hard, but for me it was more important my daughter than any material thing. So Sarah stayed with me for 60%. And during those 60% of the time, I wasn't able to spend with my daughter 24 hours during the time that I was working in that company, because, the days that she was at school, I was off. So 6 hours, 7 hours that she was at school, I didn't see her, right? And then, during the weekends that I used to work, but she was off of the school and I was at work. So we never had like 24 hours together in 3 years. And that really was keeping me, and not being happy, but I couldn't find another way to be able to um, create something, or to be with some company, or to do something that was going to really give me the time to spend with my daughter, because I knew that the time that is coming in the next few months was going to arrive, which is my daughter leaving home and going to college. So I wanted to spend at least more time with her, and to eat together, fight together, do something together, shopping together, so we did a lot of things together after I took the decision that I wanted to spend more time with her. So this is the way that I came to LinkedIn. This is the way how I came to LinkedIn, to trying to find connections. I was rejected so many times. People didn't want to connect with me because, they just didn't know who I was. And many of the connections and the messages that I used to receive in the past were more about my legs, because I remember I had a picture that was me sitting crossing my legs with a suit in a chair, less professional picture. And there were a lot of comments about my legs and a lot of proposals, like married men here locally, and it was a hard time, because at the time there was no LinkedIn help. There were no rules like there's now. I think because we have been speaking up and say this is enough, don't treat us like that. The rules of LinkedIn has been more hard over comments or connections or messages from people that you don't want to be related with, right? So that was the beginning. So it was hard, so I decided that I needed to start branding myself and start, connecting with people, to start creating mindful relationships. So by then, it was a time that I was like, I needed to start connecting. I found a job, in the same industry. It's not what I was looking for. This is not for what I applied, but this is what they offer me. And the pay was much better than what I was expecting, but the work was hard. Was the place, the culture was a very toxic culture. And I can say it out loud because I live it and I don't care if somebody likes it or not listen it. But it's the truth. And I can tell because, I've been from the sales floor onto training people how to sell, mentoring groups and teams. And then, make I break a record in that sales room, and then I moved to another sales room, and I was one of the good ones as well, but the culture, I have been in management positions as well in the same culture, the same company. So I live what it's like, what you can do, what you're able to do. So I knew the whole game, and I was like, I don't need to be here. I mean, really, I love the industry because it's from where I form myself, it's from where I learn all what I have learned during the years, which is sales and training and closing, but I just, I reach an age right now that I just don't, I prefer to live a happier life than a millionaire life. I prefer to drive a regular car than have a car that is gonna get my blood pressure high if I don't get the quote next month or the next 2 months. So it's just there are things that I prioritize right now, and one of them is my mental health and my family well-being. So I'm choosing the right path.
And that's wonderful. I tell you that as you was talking, and you know, I think anybody on LinkedIn really understands how much you love your daughter. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. I hope all mothers can get there, right? Where their children are their light. You know, that's the source of the strength there, and you're fueled and your passions are fueled to ensure the safety and the multi-generational blessing of your children, right? So I think everybody has seen that. Seen.
I always wanted to be a mother. You know, being a mother was a dream for me, was my dream to be a mom. So, you know, I can tell that I mean, having Sarah is like my dream come true. And, you know, raising her the way that I raised her with the values that I have, to become a good human being and to become a leader and to be a good woman and to learn their, you know, my culture, you know, because I came from a Hispanic culture, Mexican culture. We are very conservative in certain things. You know, I mean, I grew up, I don't know the new generations, but the way that I grew up, it was conservative. My father was very macho. You know, my mother was also conservative. You know, even though that my mom was like more kind of hippie style, she was conservative as well. You know, I never wear, I never, my parents never allowed me to wear a mini skirt to go out. So just to let you know, I mean, how was my family on that kind of things.
Yeah, no,
So I raised Sarah completely different. You know, she knows limits and she knows, and I have to teach her to choose what she feels comfortable and what is going with her values, what is aligned with what she believes, what she wants, how she wants to be perceived. I mean, I'm teaching also my daughter right now to develop her own personal brand offline, to find herself before she comes online. And this is what I do for a living now.
and
I
that's
help
gonna
leaders to find themselves, to become their true self on social media.
and that's one of the things that I was just about to mention because you like I said, we see what you've done with Sarah. He said now that you mentioned her name, but we've seen what she's done, which is a marvelous thing. But
Thank you.
what you do with people and getting them to find their personal brand and amplify it is just phenomenal. And I want to talk about that a little bit because you just mentioned that now you're teaching her to find herself before she actually releases herself, right? And
Of course, because this is the fear of everybody. This is the fear of everybody when they come to social media. I mean, everybody has their own brilliance, and everybody has their unique thing because we are different. But the problem is that we don't know who we are. We don't know what we stand for. We don't know what we believe in. We don't know what our values are. You know why? Because we never count them, because we never write them out. We never ask ourselves why I stand for this. Because once you find what your values are as a human being, what you stand for, and what you're gonna use your voice for, is when you find your purpose. But without finding those things, you cannot share your thoughts because you don't know who you want to talk to begin with. It makes sense?
oh yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna tell you that when when I met you in 2019, this was October 2019, and I had just started on LinkedIn, and it was a like you mentioned earlier, Orlando LinkedIn local, and so many people that were there that night that still today I talk to, Kelly, Paul, Anthony, I still talk to them. I just not too long ago, I had a lunch with another great person here in the Central
Oh,
Florida. Yeah, I'm going to tell you in a little bit.
With Lorenzo?
No, Lorenzo. I talked to Lorenzo. I met him at Podfest. You know, there
Lorenzo, I
is
love Lorenzo
there,
Flores.
there is just so many people that have come since that day, and I've seen everybody kind of their trajectory go up and up and up and up. And you help people get there. And you just said it. You know, you help them find who they are. So when it comes to amplifying your personal brand, what's key? What's key to get there?
You need to find yourself, because the content that you're going to share is going to be related to who you are, what your values are, what you stand for, what is your purpose. And it's okay not knowing it, because nobody know that. There is not a class, find your purpose, until we find Simon Sinek, right? But before that, there was none. I mean, my parents didn't know what their purpose were. So how they're gonna teach me to find my purpose when I was a teenager? They didn't even find them or theirs. So I didn't find my purpose until I was older. And I said, you know what? This is my purpose. This is what I want to do. And this is what I stand for. And of course, our values change, because the values that I had when I was a teenager are not the same values that I have right now when I'm 51 years old. So sometimes we still pulling in the values that our parents taught us when were in the dining table having dinner with them. So those are the values that our parents taught us. Be nice, with manners, and all those values, principal values that our parents teach us, right? But many of you, or many of us, grew up all our life with those values only, without adding other values that they were giving meaning to our lives. So when you don't know what you stand for, what your values are, how you're gonna express who want you to be, or how you wanna be perceived on social media, you need to know yourself first. You need to find the reason why you wanna be on social media, because if it's because you wanna become famous, I can help you, because I don't know how to do it. This is not what I came to social media, and I don't know how to help you to become famous. I'm saying this publicly. If somebody comes to me because they want to become famous, I'm the wrong person to help them to do it.
Well, fame comes with a price. So, for everybody running after fame, hey, just beware. It does come with a price. Some people go for fame. Some people are interested in influence, right? And you help people grow their reach and getting that influence. I remember when we first spoke, it didn't take you but 5 minutes to say, "Hey, what are you doing sitting there? Go over there and talk." You remember that? Go over there and talk to people. That's what you came here for. I was content with just sitting there, right? I was with my wife, and we were just chit chatting, and there
And
is.
suddenly I show up, right? And I say, "Hi, how are you? Thank you for coming. What are you doing here?" "Well, we're just chatting." I said, "Well, you came to network, so stand up and move on."
That's
Remember?
that's what you said. But I tell you, that's a process of growth, right? You have to be able to take some actions that are going to lead you and prepare you to that so-called influence you want to be. So, but what do you tell your clients? And we'll be talking about your clients here in a little bit because we want to identify those. But what do you tell your clients when it comes to growing their reach and influence?
Well, one of the things that I always uh, start my coaching is that they need to start finding their values and their beliefs. That's one of the things that the first uh, part of my coaching is finding your values and your beliefs, because from those values and from those beliefs and from where your audience is going to be aligned with them. I mean, even though that I have 1.7 million of followers, so I don't know how many are right now, which I'm very grateful for. Not everybody engaged on my content. but many watch my content. I mean, I have content that it has been seen 200,000 times, and I get a lot of lead outs of it, right? So it's not the likes, it's who is watching your content because they like your content. Many people doesn't engage on LinkedIn because they don't want to be targeted. That is the reason why. People doesn't want to engage anymore in content because they don't want to be targeted. They don't want people to start sending them messages and connection requests and things that they don't want people feeling comfortable. So if we don't take care of the people who is going to be probably your target audience and protect those people, which are going to be probably your clients, who will? Then the platform is going to become crazy. So, I have many clients, where we help them with their marketing and with their social media presence here on LinkedIn. And you don't know the messages, all the messages that we see from, outbound, like crazy, crazy. I mean, a lot. They don't to me because they know that I will say stop. But, for many of my clients, this is what happened. They don't know, we found a way to stop it and just to from there start draining the messages that they are mindful. It is so hard for people to really connect with other human beings through the platform. I mean, if I want to get them onto business with you, I want you to be my client, what I'm gonna do first, and this is what I do. Many of the times that I've been hired is from people that I approach, and I engage in their content, and I support their content because I like who they are. My values are aligned with what they post. My values are aligned with what they share. So when I see them struggling, I approach them and I say, hey, why don't you do this and change that? And they try and say, well, I like it. And then they come back and say, talk to me about your services. So I talk to them about my services and then they become my clients. I don't have to send them sales messages and offering my services. I have never done that. Never. I think that because I have never offered anything on LinkedIn, this is the reason why I have the number of followers that I have. I mean, there is no other reason why. I think it's because people doesn't feel pressure when they come to my content. They don't feel that they are being sold something. I'm trying to sell them something. So they don't feel that. And sometimes you feel, right, when somebody's selling and selling and selling, and you can feel, if I can feel it, everybody else can feel. It's important to be strategic when you want to ask for business. It's important to learn how to communicate. If you want to connect with somebody, send them a note. Send them why you want to be connected with them. Make your homework, follow them, see what they like, what they engage, what they are commenting with. So you make a comment and send them a note. Make something that's going to create a connection, because I don't owe you anything. If you send me a connection request and right away you send me a book with your sales pitch, I'm going to disconnect with you and I'm going to block you. Seriously, I don't have time. And if I need a services, if I need an editor, if I need a copywriter, if I need any kind of services, I know who I can go. I've been 5 years on the platform. So if I need a services, I know where I can knock the door and say, hey, can you please help me? And if you can you please guide me through somebody else? And they do. I'm going to go with somebody that I trust.
Yeah,
Simple.
Trust is the element that makes things happen. And if you can't do that, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, there are salespeople that they have happened to sell by force, right? They find weak will people and they sell, right? Hey,
And I understand it. I mean, Enrique, I understand that you need to be like that. I mean, I was not a bad person when I was closing, but I was strong when I was closing. I was strong in my statements. I was strong in my closing statements. I was very strong in asking for the money. So I was very strong and I was tough, but nice. So you need to find what really works with the people with the target audience. I mean, not everybody react the same way. If you come to me and act like that, no, thank you. Simple. Even if I go to any store, when I enter to one store and everybody start following people, I'm like, I leave the store. I just feel like everybody's watching me. No.
And, so we get into this whole reach and influence, which we just covered. But there's also this part of of what you provide, which is getting people to get established as thought leaders in their industry. That's that takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work. Some can do it very easily, but some have labored throughout the years. How do you get somebody that's ready and poised to do this thing?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. It would not take you months. It would take you years. I mean, I'm not going to say, oh, you're going to become a thought leader in 1 year or 6 months. That's impossible. People need to trust you. People need to, your values, your content, the way that you think, your thought process has to be aligned with them. You can't force that. There is people who can't do that, and there is people who cannot. So, and if you cannot, hire somebody to do it for you. If you're a business owner and you don't want to be in front of the camera, you don't want to be the face of the company, which is very important right now because the future of branding is personal. Okay, so if you don't want to do it, that's fine. You hire, your daughter, the vice president of the company. I don't know, whoever is over there, let them to be the face of your company because you need to humanize your brand.
That humanization of branding is been talked a lot here recently, but it's evident that just the way it's going to be. So for those that are kind of bucking against that and fighting that, what what advice would you give them? Because
I can't give them an advice. They're not my target audience. I just work with people who really wanna grow, who really wanna become a thought leader in their industry without being fluffy and be all fame on, but professional, a true thought leader, and people who really wants to stop being ignored and unseen and unheard. This is the people that I want to start, the people that I serve. Yeah. People who doesn't want to do it, people who they don't care about it, that's not the people that I work with. Why I'm going to work with somebody I don't need to convince somebody to change their mindset. They need to change because they really feel that right now is a time to start creating their digital ID. Because your digital ID, it's going to be just like your driver license. Just like that.
Yeah, that's for sure. I tell
that's
you,
we're using right now digital IDs for the banks, for everything. So why not you use your personal branding as part of your digital ID and be there out and leave a legacy, not just to be there to promote your business or to promote the brand or to create more revenue, but to teach other people from what you have learned during all these years.
So let's say those ideal clients for you are listening, right? They are, wanting to be those thought leaders. They want to grow their reach and influence. They want to amplify their personal brand. How would they get a hold of you for those services?
Oh, well, they can contact me on LinkedIn. They can send me a message with, a brief the explanation of what they look, what they're reaching out, and then other ways ignore it. I mean, they have to write something. And the other thing, they can call me, they can text me. I have my business number in my band, in the banner of my profile, there is my phone number, and my email is right there. So I'm very reachable.
And at a tune of 1.7 million connections. So yes, very reachable indeed. There's a lot of people reaching out for Lorena. Don't be one of those that don't. But you know what? If you're not on her list of target audience or ideal clients, you're not going to go after her. But if you are, consider Lorena as your next hire, as your next coach, as your next mentor, whatever you want to call a business partner, right? Because that's what she's going to become with you if you want that type of stuff.
Yeah,
Lorena?
I mean, if you guys have, if you guys have clear understanding of what your purpose is, and you, besides, building your business and building your brand, are here to help others, and you really want to learn how to stand out of the noise, how you can amplify your voice, how you can be seen instead of being unseen, and how you can become how you can be heard instead of being unheard by masses. Reach out. I can help you.
And that she can. So, Lorena, thank you so much for number
My
number
pleasure.
one, everything that you've been doing, both on and off. I'm looking forward to the next Orlando LinkedIn local.
I just
And
talked to Manny a few days ago. He's like, let's do it again. So
that's
we're gonna do it. Just we're waiting a little bit because you know how is the things are right now.
right, right.
So once everything starts, settling down again, probably we're gonna plan one because we really want to do that. The next LinkedIn local Orlando, and that's it.
Outstanding. So if you're in Orlando, stay tuned for that because you don't want to miss it. Last time we had a blast. We met such a big amount of people that we really continue to encourage and endorse and support each other. It was a great event, so you don't want to miss that.
It was amazing event. It was amazing event. We sold out, and remember, people were coming even though that we didn't have ticket. We were so many. It was fun.
It was a different time, right? But now we have to be a little cautious. But regardless, however the setup, whether it's in person, virtual, however it may be, make sure to attend that because you're not gonna regret it. But folks, if you've enjoyed this episode and learned something interesting about the topic covered today, which was leadership and personal branding, make sure to subscribe and let us know by leaving a comment on YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, or Twitter right now. We're always looking for new ideas and guests that we can add to our show. So if you know someone or have a topic that you would like for me to feature on the podcast, I'd love to hear about it by emailing me at triadleadershipsolutions@gmail.com. And be sure to tune in next week for another episode where we dissect leadership from another angle. As we like to end this show, success to you.